Imagine you're shipwrecked. The year is 700,000 BC. You wash ashore on a seemingly tropical paradise. Lush forests, sparkling streams, warm sun. You think you're safe. You're wrong. This isn't an island. It's a death trap. Welcome to Flores, the most dangerous island in prehistory. You stumble through the dense undergrowth, your modern senses completely unprepared for the dangers lurking here. The first sign that something is terribly wrong is the silence. Not the peaceful kind, but the heavy, expectant silence of a place where every creature is either a hunter or hiding from one. Suddenly, the ground trembles. Not an earthquake. These are footsteps. Heavy, deliberate. You peek through the giant ferns and see it, a stegodon, a prehistoric elephant, but not like any you've seen in museums. This one is small, a product of island dwarfism, but it's still a 4-ton battering ram of muscle and tusk. It's stripping bark from a tree, its massive form a testament to the strange rules of this isolated world. You back away slowly, careful not to make a sound. You think the elephant is the biggest threat? That's your second mistake. As you retreat, a shadow falls over you. You look up, soaring on thermals. High above is a monstrous bird. It's not a pterosaur. This is something far more sinister. A giant marabou stork, Leptopelos robustus, standing nearly 6 feet tall on the ground. Its beak is a foot-long dagger, sharp enough to pierce straight through you. It's a scavenger, yes, but on an island with limited resources, it's also an opportunistic predator. It circles, watching you, calculating. Its cold, intelligent eyes promise a gruesome end. This island is a biological experiment gone wild. Isolation has warped the course of evolution. Creatures that were large on the mainland, like the stegodon, shrank to fit the limited food supply. But for smaller creatures, the opposite happened. Without larger predators to keep them in check, they grew to monstrous proportions. This phenomenon is called island gigantism, and on Flores, it has created a menagerie of nightmares. You press on deeper into the forest, desperation fueling your every step. You need to find shelter, water, something, anything. That's when you hear a rustle in the bushes. It's low to the ground. You freeze. A lizard, perhaps. A snake. No. What emerges is something out of a fever dream. A rat. But this is no ordinary rodent. This is Papagomes, the Flores giant rat. It's the size of a small dog, with teeth strong enough to gnaw through bone. It stares at you, whiskers twitching, its beady black eyes devoid of fear. On this island, even the rats are giants, and they're not afraid of you. They've never seen a human. To them, you are just another potential meal, a strange, soft-skinned creature who has blundered into their territory. The island of Flores is a textbook example of the Foster's rule, or the island rule. This ecological principle states that members of a species get smaller or larger, depending on the resources available in the environment. On islands, large animals with huge appetites tend to shrink over generations because there's simply not enough food to sustain their massive size. The dwarf stegodon is a classic case. Conversely, small animals, freed from the mainland's predators, can evolve to become much larger, filling ecological niches that were previously occupied by bigger animals. The giant stork and the monster rat are terrifying products of this gigantism. For thousands of years, these unique and dangerous creatures were the kings of Flores. They existed in a bizarre, self-contained ecosystem, a lost world hidden from the rest of the planet. But they weren't the only inhabitants. As you navigate this terrifying landscape, you can't shake the feeling that you're being watched by something else, something intelligent. The sun begins to set, casting long, distorted shadows through the jungle. The air grows cold. The sounds of the night begin unearthly calls and screeches that make your blood run cold. You find a small cave, a tiny recess in a rock face, and huddle inside, praying for morning. Throughout the night, you hear things moving just outside the heavy tread of the stegodon, the scraping claws of the giant rats, the guttural cries from the sky. You are a trespasser in a land of monsters, but the biggest danger on this island isn't the giant bird or the bulldog-sized rat. It's not even the dwarf elephant. The true apex predator of Flores was something far more familiar and far more terrifying. Morning light breaks, and you cautiously emerge from your hiding spot. That's when you see the footprints in the mud near the cave entrance. They are small, unsettlingly human-like. You follow the tracks, your heart pounding a frantic rhythm against your ribs. They lead you to a clearing. and what you see there stops you dead. A small group of figures are gathered around a fire. They look human, but they're small, barely 3.5 feet tall. They are covered in hair, with long arms and receding foreheads. They carry primitive stone tools. This is Homo floresiensis, nicknamed the Hobbit, a species of archaic human that was also subject to the island's strange evolutionary pressures. They, too, had become dwarves. For a moment, you feel a flicker of hope. Kinship, another human species. You step out from the trees, raising a hand in a gesture of peace. Their reaction is not what you expect. They don't greet you. They don't run. They turn as one, their faces grim, their eyes hard and calculating. They are hunters, and they are the undisputed rulers of this island. These tiny humans hunted the dwarf stegodons. Think about that. A handful of 3-foot-tall people, armed with nothing but sharpened sticks and stone flakes, taking down elephants. They were masters of ambush, of strategy, of ruthless efficiency. They were intelligent, coordinated, and utterly fearless. They survived on this island of horrors by becoming the greatest horror of all. They see you, a 6-foot-tall giant in their eyes. You are not one of them. You are not a predator they recognize. You are a resource. They begin to move, fanning out, their movements practiced and precise. They're surrounding you, the same way they would surround a stegodon. Their stone tools, which looked so primitive just moments ago, now look lethally sharp. This is the ultimate twist of Flores. The most dangerous predator on the island of giants was a dwarf, a tiny human who, through intelligence and sheer brutality, climbed to the top of the food chain. They didn't just survive here, they thrived. They conquered this monstrous land. Fossils found in Langbua Cave on Flores show us the remains of the stegodons, the giant storks, and the hobbits themselves. Cut marks on the stegodon bones match the stone tools found with Homo floresiensis, leaving no doubt about who was hunting whom. These were not timid, frightened people hiding in caves. They were the dominant force, the island's true kings. They faced down giant rats and killer birds and took on elephants for dinner. Now, their focus is on you. You are bigger, but you are alone, unarmed, and terrified. They are a pack. They are veterans of a million-year war against nature's nightmares. The jungle that terrified you is their fortress. The monsters you fled from are their prey. They close in, their small statures belying their immense strength and ferocity. You've survived giant birds, giant rats, and dwarf elephants, but you won't survive the hobbits. On the most dangerous island in prehistory, the greatest monster was the one that looked most like us. And as they charge, you realize that your story, and the story of your species, could have easily ended right here. What happened to them? The hobbits, the stegodons, this entire lost world. They vanished around 50,000 years ago, about the same time that modern humans, Homo sapiens, arrived in the region. It's unlikely to have been a coincidence. It seems that when our ancestors finally reached this island, they encountered the hobbits. And on an island this small, there was likely only room for one species of human. The most dangerous predators on the island finally met a predator that was even more dangerous, US. But their legacy lives on, a chilling reminder that our family tree has branches we are only just beginning to understand. Thanks for watching. If you want to dive deeper into the mysteries of human evolution, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. You won't want to miss what we explore next.